Morning everybody, welcome to another day with us on the farm here at JSH Rabbits. Today is another day full of work. However, we're going to be focusing on a specific topic, and that's the topic of rabbit feeders and the ones that we use. Yeah, so we have Samuel in the back there doing his thing, but just wanted to do a video on this topic. So stay tuned. Yes, so we've been raising rabbits for a few years now, and if you've been following the channel, you will realize that we've gone through a lot of changes. Stop being nice, man. Anyway, one of the things that has changed a lot is the feeders that we actually use. Alright, so when we just started, we determined that, you know, the best type of feeders to use would be J feeders. But when we found the places that sell them, the price was somewhat prohibitive. So we decided to make our own, which sort of helped out a lot. Also, during the time, our cage design changed. Based on that, this one wasn't always applicable. So we decided to make these. These came about because of the design of our maternity or doe cages. So we wanted to have a feeder that we could feed the rabbits from the top without necessarily having to open the cages. So that's how this came about. These worked to some extent, but they didn't work well. We put some meshing under the bottom here, and you know, they had a little chute that the feed came down in, and the rabbits would push their head through here. But we realized that over time they started to clog and all of that. So we tried something different. We tried these. I should have said earlier that cost was a factor as well, so we were trying to get the best feeder, or a feeder that works at the best price. These are just some 4-inch PVC pipe with a cap on the bottom. These, they kinda could have worked, but they didn't work so well either. So we basically scrapped this idea. Now we're going to try something else. These are the feeders that we are currently testing. They are called bunker feeders, and I actually found them on a Russian website, and I decided to do some more research on them and to actually try and build one. So we've been testing this for a couple of days now, and I have a few clips to show you as to how the test is going. So now we're going to actually build a few more so we can actually do some wider testing. So we're gonna actually try and show you guys how to actually make one of these and to give dimensions as well. So you have to stay tuned to the channel to see that video. Of course, depending on your cage setup, you know, and the size of your rabbitry, you may use different options as it relates to feeding and watering. You know, persons may also choose to use something as simple as this, like a little bowl or even a cheese pan. You know, in Jamaica we have metal tins that they use for cheese. A cheese pan could be used as a feeder as well, or some other simple things. This one, however, is actually plastic, so it might not necessarily be the best because it's chewable. The rabbits may chew on it, and it's light, so they can easily overturn something like this. However, persons tend to use heavier things, metal dishes, crock pots or whatever. So there are varying options out there. So right now we've cut out a few templates. We're gonna assemble the front to the side. This is what we have so far, and then I'm just gonna put this piece on. Alright, so here we have the finished product. It's neat still in a youth. I said it's neat still. Alright, so after spending what seemed like an eternity making feeders, I'm actually finished with my quota for the day. Just to give you some context and show you how long these things actually take to make, I had 6 that were pre-cut, right? So I had to deburr them and, you know, do the bending and the boring and all of that. And for the entire day, I started about maybe 10 or so, 10 a.m. and I only made 6. So these things do take a while to assemble. Anyway, these are the 6. This is one of them. I think this one is probably the best made one. I like this one, but you know, I have 6 here. We actually have a total of 8 that we're going to test. So I'm going to install these now and watch them over time. One of my concerns was whether or not the kids would be able to access this feeder easily. We have a couple kits that are coming out of the nest boxes now, so we're gonna put them in a few of those cages, and we're also going to put them in with the doors that we think waste feed. This is the new design that we are testing out, and literally I'm going to test it now. So it's designed to hang in the cage like this. So it will hang like this, and then I'll pour some feed in it to see how the rabbit responds. I have some feed in this container here. I'm going to pour it in, and I'm going to see how the rabbit takes to this. One of the major concerns I had was whether or not the head could fit inside. So I'm going to see now how they'll respond. Seems like the head can fit. This is good. So I'll continue to monitor this over the next few days to see how she does with it. Yeah, people, a day in the life of rabbit farmers of JSH. Is now 9:30, and look at where I am in the rabbitry doing some work. Just checking on a few things. Didn't get to feed this morning, so I'm actually feeding now, but take a look at this. This is the feeder that I put in this morning, and you know, the rabbit is eating from it. I think I should make this feeder a little bit wider, like this way, so there's a little bit more head space down here, but I'll have to do some more research on that. It's now after 5 in the morning, but I'm just giving a check on this feeder and the rabbits before I actually run out to work. Alright, so you would have been following the video, realizing that we're testing a new type of feeder, and this is a good result. One of my major concerns was whether or not the rabbit would have been able to reach all of what is inside the feeder, and you will see that most of the feed is gone. Still have a little concern in terms of the young ones having access to the feed, but I am going to modify this and make it a little bit wider, and hopefully that one should be good. So I actually put together another one of these feeders, one that is a little bit wider than the previous one that I made the test. So this one appears to be more suitable, so we're going to test this one now. So I actually woke up to this morning. A lot of feed wastage, so we're going to try this feeder with this rabbit over here. So this one is supposed to kindle sometime soon, hence the nest box, but I'm not sure what is happening with her, so I'm going to remove this and install the new feeder. Yeah, come out quite easily. I think before we mass produce it though, we need to see how the kits will do with them. So we'll need to wait for a couple weeks till these are old enough to start eating solid food, to try and see how they will work with these new feeders. These are some of the things that we're trying to avoid. Rabbits are gnawing on the feeders and wasting the feed. So with the new feeders now, this is something that we are aiming to fix. Also with this, it would be a good idea to have something that they can nibble on, and we are going to try dried coconut husk. So we're gonna have at least a piece in every cage. This one is also gnawing on the feeders and wasting feed. If you look under the cage, you'll see that there's quite a bit of feed on the ground. So hopefully with these new feeders now, we will fix that issue. Another thing to look out for in a rabbitry is ants. These kits were born a day ago, but I'm seeing ants, red ants specifically, lurking. So there they are. We need to do something about them before they damage the kits. This is cage number 47. She actually kindled yesterday, or should I say last night. And this is the feeder that is in her cage. She is eating. Feeder is working well, and I'm not really seeing any sign of wastage, right? So this is a good sign for us, and it's very encouraging. Cage number 59, I noticed that the kits are actually coming out of the nest box, so we're gonna actually put a feeder here. But just before we do that, let me just give you a quick rundown of our cage setup. So if you look closely, you'll realize that there are two levels. There's a top level here and a bottom level here. So the top level is for the grow out cages, and the bottom level is for the maternity cages. So based on that, we've adopted a particular design. So the top is designed differently from the bottom. So based on how the top or the bottom cages rather open, then we would have to design the feeders differently. So even though we have typical J feeders installed here, they are not the best fit. That's why we've had to try different feeders. If you notice, the J feeder is hung so high, when this rabbit has kits, the kits won't be able to reach it. Also, because we're using the typical J feeders and the cage is open from the top, in this instance and in many instances such as these in our setup, in order to feed the rabbits, we have to open each set of cages. So we would need a feeder, that we can basically feed from the top without having to open the cages. So that is why we need such feeders. We've tried various types, but none have worked really well. So now we're testing these to see if they will be a worthy replacement. So as I was saying, number 59 has kits out of the nest box. There are 5 of them there. So we're gonna replace this with one of the feeders that we have. So this is easy to remove, and these should be relatively easy to install. And that's it. Yes, so we have another feeder installed here. This one appeared to be a chronic feed waster, so we're gonna see how it works with this rabbit. Okay, we have another one, number 46, with the kits coming out of the nest box. So we were using a typical J feeder here. We're going to remove the J feeder and install the new feeder. This is the feeder installed, quick and easy. Looking at the kits and basically how they size up to the feeder so far. Let's see. They can actually crawl inside. Which may not be comfortable for them, but let's see. As you know, if they can go inside, they might foul the feed, but let's hope it's not something that they do. The breeder man is here. Yeah. So after installing those 6 additional feeders yesterday, we are going to give you guys a look at how they are doing. Alright, so this one was installed yesterday and it is virtually empty. It is mostly just fines at the bottom. This one, you know, it's not quite empty, but it's going down. We installed one in number 38 yesterday, and number 38's feeder is actually empty. Empty. And we don't really see any sign of wastage under number 38's cage. One more on this side, in the cage of rabbit number 20. This one is almost empty also, so that's a good sign. Have you seen the feeders, Morrison? Have you seen them? You look inside of them?
Of course, I look at them over there.
So what do you think?
I like it, man. I like what is happening so far. Of course, man. Right now, more mass produce, so that we can get every cage with one.
Things look good so far. Looks very promising. All being well, we'll be able to mass produce these feeders for use in the rabbitry, and hopefully that will make feeding a lot easier. What you should know is that these feeders can be adapted to fit at the top row as well, so some modification would have to be made to fit them. Utilizing them up here is not out of the question. So now we have all 8 new feeders installed. So we're gonna monitor them over the next couple of days, maybe a couple weeks, to see how they do with the rabbits, and then we'll decide if we're gonna mass produce them or not. Of course, I did say earlier that all being well, I'm going to show you how we actually make these new feeders, the bunker feeders, and I'm going to give you the dimensions that, you know, that can be used to make them. Of course, our requirements were a little bit different, so we did some modifications to suit our purposes, but you know, whatever application you have, then you can make your modifications and they will, or they should work just fine. Of course, you definitely need to stay tuned to the channel for that, so make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that notification bell. If you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Stay tuned, and of course, see you in the next one.